guys, welcome back to my channel. As promised, I'm here with a tutorial to show you how to put this ragalan top together, and the length you can take it longer, shorter, whatever you require. So let's go right ahead and get started. To complete this project you need your fabric and your pattern. My fabric I've already cut out for this ragalan top, and the sleeve pattern and some bias binding. This is a 1 inch wide bias binding. It's store-bought and it's poly cotton bias binding. For the sleeve, even though we had the shape, what I have done from the armhole here, I've just taken a straight line, so that way I could gather this at the bottom and make it more like a kind of a pleated sleeve and have bias binding finish at the end. So that's the idea. And if you don't need it, then you could go ahead and cut the shape of the sleeve as it is and fold it and overlock the edges by folding it about 1/2 inch or 1 inch. That's the normal hem finish that we do. The process is the same for both front and back. Here is your front or back, and take one of your sleeve, and this is the right side of the fabric, and I'm placing it to the right side of the fabric here, like so, and we're going to go and place the other one like so. Okay, so now flip the sleeve over like this and go and match your armhole. We're going to pin this and we're going to go and sew a 1/2 inch stitch, zigzag stitch. The same way we're going to flip this over and we're going to sew this side as well. Okay, we're going to start off on one of the sleeve, so take about between 1/4 inch to 1/2 inch seam allowance, and we're going to sew a zigzag stitch. My zigzag stitch is 1.5 in length and number 2 wide. Okay, this is the join we have just done. So we're going to flip the sleeve back like so, and now spread the other side of the pattern. Just check your right and wrong fabric. I'm just checking it. And now we're going to bring the other side of the sleeve to exactly like how we did in the front. There's no changes at all. And we're going to bring this together and pin and sew. I'm not going to show this because it's exactly like how we did before. And then we are going to go and attach this side of the sleeve as well. Okay, that's how it's looking, and when I've attached both the side of the sleeve. Now we need to go and close the side seam. Before we do that, I've just looked at it, and the neck is quite small, so the front is going to be quite a high neck, so I want to make it slightly deeper. So for that, because your front and back is the same, just take one side like so and place it in such a way that your side seam matches, like that, and then also your seam of the sleeve here. Just take a little time and make sure that the folding's right, otherwise it would be wonky, especially if you're doing it after sewing the sleeves. So my sleeves is matching and my side seams are matching. I'm happy with that. So now just go ahead and do, probably I'm going to do about 1.5 inches and take this a little bit deeper. I'm not cutting off the sleeve, I've just deepened the front neck drop. So now if I open it up, you can see the front neck drop is deeper and the back's higher. Okay, so you can do it this way as well. If you don't want to do it in the pattern, take a high neck and then cut down, and you can deepen your front neck drop like so. Okay, before we go ahead and finish the side, I'd like to do my neck finish, because we're using bias binding, and when you're doing this, it's much easier when you're doing it on flat like this on an open fold rather than on a closed fold. So let's go ahead and see how to do that. Okay, now we're going to go and attach the bias binding. So basically this is a store-bought one and 1 inch wide bias binding. Start off somewhere around the back neckline. We're going to open it and then sew on the fold all around. And later on we're going to turn it on itself and then bind it like so. Okay, so let's go to the sewing machine. I might just pin it a little bit, but you really don't need it, simply because you're going to leave the fabric as it is on an ease and then start sewing all around the neckline. Here I have pinned the bias binding all around the neckline. I found it easier just to do this so you kind of don't put too much of pressure on the fabric, otherwise it's going to kind of pull and push. So we're going to start off, I've left a little bit extra at the end because we're going to come back and join it, and this is the center back neckline. So we're going to start about an inch away and we're going to sew on the fold. So once you've pinned it, there's no pressure on the fabric, all you have to do is just feed it. I'm just sewing from the right hand side like so, you can see the join there, and I'm sewing on the fold. We're almost coming to the starting point here, so I'm going to start a few inches away. So what we're going to do is we're just going to hold it like so, because there's more than an inch of allowance. We're going to trim that off and open your fold, and we're going to go and sew on this line. If you find this difficult, just go ahead and pin it and just make your marking, and basically we just need to make sure that we've got a lot of seam allowance, so I'm just going to trim this excess off. And all we're going to do now, we're going to start just before we left off, open the seam like so. Just do a finger crease and that should sit like that. Let's go ahead and join this. At this stage you can go and trim the excess allowance off, but if you're happy with it, all you have to do is fold this allowance over like so, and then fold it again inside into half, and you can almost feel it just where it's kind of sitting. And we're going to go and sew a top stitch on top of the edge of the black binding. If you find this difficult, just go ahead and iron it and pin it in place, and then you can do this. Okay, I have just decided to just kind of give it a quick fold and iron it, because it just makes it so much easier just to sew once it's ironed and it's in place. And while folding and ironing it, I can also make sure that the fold has covered the stitching here inside, because otherwise if you see a little bit, it's just going to look very untidy. So I'm going to go and fold it like so and iron it. Steam is the best thing because it kind of lays the binding flat, and even at the maximum heat it won't kind of burn the fabric. So I'll go and do this all around. Now that we have ironed this binding, it's so easy, it's going to go like a dream. I'm going to start off from the back where the join is, and I'm going to place it probably 1/8 inch away from the edge, so that way my folded binding will catch as well, and sew a top stitch. Okay, there is the binding neatly sewn in, but you can see this is kind of lifting up and sitting proud. That's simply because in terms of strength, the polycotton binding has got more strength than the knitted fabric that we're using, the jersey fabric. So it's almost like both of them are competing with each other and who is stronger. But the way to do it would be steam press it like so, and then make it sit flat. And once it's kind of heat pressed and steam pressed, it won't fight with each other, and it will sit in the way it needs to sit, like so. Can you see? Steam pressing is the best thing, especially when you're dealing with jerseys. So once it's flat, that's how it's going to say. You don't have to worry about that sitting up again. Okay, so neckline is now finished. So we're going to turn this over to the wrong side of the t-shirt, and then the side seam, just match your armhole joint to the armhole joint, and from here all the way till the hem, both the sides, we're going to go and sew the side seam. I'm going to sew a zigzag stitch, just like how we did the shoulder ones. I'm going to do this off the camera, and then we come back and show you how to finish the sleeve. I have sewn in the side seam and also the bottom hem. So all that there is left to do is to finish the sleeves. Okay, so at this stage you need to go and wear the t-shirt and find out where this length is going to end on your sleeve. At that point, go and measure your sleeve round. I have measured mine, and that's coming to about 10 inches in total. So I need to go ahead and reduce this to 10 inches. You could also have an elasticated sleeve, but I'm going to use spice binding, same finish as the neckline. So I need 10 inches plus 1 inch for my seam allowance. So I'm going to take 11 inches long, and I'm going to take 2 of these for the 2 sleeves, and like so. So we're going to open the bias binding fold it into half, and we're just going to close this in a 1/2 inch seam first. And once we've done that, we're going to come back and reduce this and pleat it all around this one. So let me go and do this off camera, and we'll come back and show you how to gather the sleeve onto the bias binding. Okay, there's the bias binding. I'm just going to fold it into half and then fold again and just make that marking. Otherwise you can just go ahead and make a pencil mark or a marking chalk. Basically that fold here, they've got 4 folds, including the one that we started off as the seam join. So now we're going to go and make the center notch mark on the sleeve, and we've got the starting point, which is the sleeve join. We're going to fold it into half and then just make a tiny notch. Okay, so we're going to start off with the fold and go and join the fold to fold and place a pin like so. And if you turn it over, it would be easier to do it. And then we're going to bring in the center fold and match it to the center fold on the bias binding and place a pin. And now we're going to go to the notch and then match that into the fold here, and we're going to place a pin. Same way, we do that on the other one as well. And that way this is divided into 4 equal parts. So basically you can see the red fabric is a lot more than what we need. So what we're going to do, we're going to make tiny pleats, tiny little pleats in between. So the pleating is going to be very small, but that's going to be kind of even all around. We're going to start off from the center join here, like so. Then we've got this much of fabric, and what we need to do is, you can pin it if you like, but you could make tiny little pleats like so. So we're going to go and do tiny pleats like that. Because the sleeve round is quite small, Because of that, you only have got very small space to do that. You can also do this first and then join it in the side seam, but you will always get that little bit poking out if you join it after you do this. So I don't really like that. If you're new to pleating, then you might want to do a basting stitch first, so you're confident and you don't have to do this on the machine. It's quite tricky to do it like so. Okay, so the pleating is now finished, like so, and all we need to do now is turn this over, fold it into half, and then do a top stitch. Exactly, if you leave the pleating out, it's exactly like how we did the neck binding. Okay, here I am folding and stitching the binding we have just sewn in, and I'm sewing on top of the binding at the edge. There is your ragalan top with pleated sleeves.